Modern digital devices attempt to do everything at once, acting as your phone, camera, compass, and confessional. The result is a communication landscape mediated entirely by algorithms, where every interaction is logged, optimized, and fed into engines to keep you scrolling. In response, a subculture of retro telecom collectors has intentionally retreated to obsolete hardware, building an anti-social media movement called Faxmachine.club. To join, participants have to follow rigid hardware rules. They scour the internet for authentic vintage fax machines or configure highly specific intermediary devices to link analog inputs to modern connections. Why are highly technical people willingly spending hundreds of dollars a year just to send physical pieces of paper over analog telephone lines? This elaborate setup is a deliberate choice. By forcing their communication through outdated, rigid channels, they're rejecting the frictionless, optimized noise of the modern internet in favor of physical constraint. When you dial a fax number, the receiving machine answers with a 2100 Hz tone. This screeching noise is the T30 handshake, a physical, audible negotiation where two modems establish their speed and compression capabilities before sending any data. This relies on a circuit-switched architecture. A dedicated, private physical corridor forms directly from sender to receiver. Compare that to the modern packet-switched internet. Your data is shattered into packets, routed through public server hubs, and constantly exposed to potential interception. The fax line avoids this problem through a concept known as secure by neglect. The architecture isn't cryptographically unbreakable. It is simply ignored by industrial-scale surveillance systems that rely on the mass collection of digital internet traffic. Because the engineering is incredibly inflexible and outdated, it inadvertently solves the modern threat of invisible data harvesting. To test how physical constraint alters human thought, entrepreneur David Hiett launched the Fax Club experiment. For an entire year, 100 strangers answered 52 questions, communicating exclusively through fax machines. The medium itself is visceral. A physical piece of paper inevitably emerges from the machine and demands your attention in the real world. You cannot swipe it away. You cannot mute it. No instantaneous reflexive replies. The hardware forces a drastically slower pace. Over the course of the entire year, researchers observed a very specific, undeniable psychological shift in the participants. Many joined viewing the obsolete machine with irony, but eventually adopted its measured pace as a profound discipline of their own time. By stripping away digital identities and the pressure of instant feedback, the physical limitations of the hardware produced highly thoughtful, nuanced communication. This analog philosophy maps directly onto the modern internet through the Fediverse, a decentralized network of independent, self-governing servers. Participants use intermediary hardware to connect an RJ45 cable into Wi-Fi nodes, bridging isolated analog fax machines with these decentralized digital clusters. Because these networks are small, administrators use strict gatekeeping and whitelisting to approve individual members, protecting the local network from the spam and toxic behavior found on larger platforms. This architecture proves that effective community governance does not require massive scale. Small, disconnected networks retain total sovereign power over their own spaces. Participating in this ecosystem requires a financial commitment. Operating a physical analog fax node or hosting a small digital Mastodon server both cost roughly $600 to $700 annually. When you pay directly for your own infrastructure, the economic model flips. You are no longer the product being sold to advertisers, which entirely eliminates the need for data brokers and engagement algorithms. The steep cost and the mechanical friction act as a filter. They demand genuine commitment from the user, turning the price tag into the essential cost of reclaiming digital sovereignty. The fax machine will not dismantle the global surveillance state. It is not going to save the modern internet on its own. Instead, it serves as a radical proof of concept for selective connection. It proves users can deliberately choose exactly who has access to their attention. There is immense power in a device that scans a page, transmits it, and stops. It does not predict your behavior, and it does not try to optimize your experience. By refusing to be more than what is needed, the simplest technology becomes a direct extension of human will rather than a substitute for it.